and gentlemen, thank you for watching this evening. We are live from London. I'm talking to Michelle Watson. Michelle is a book creation mentor, is a very successful author, business coach, life coach, and she's here to share with you her story. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Patrick. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, yes. How is London? It seems to be warm and warm.
It's not just warm, it's hot.
Really?
It's an unusual weather for us in London, but it's a good one.
Wow. So what have you been up to? What do you do for a living?
Okay, great. So I am an author and I'm also a speaker trainer, a Vision to Success masterclass trainer. So that is helping individuals. I have ideas. I want to turn it into a monetized business. So I help them to craft that. And then I also um, I'm a business book creation mentor and publisher as well.
Wow, that's a lot of work you're doing. Must be very busy, and it's taken us almost 2 months trying to connect.
I know.
You
It's
get
been
the time to do all that, and I guess you have a family as well.
yeah, it is a busy period, I must say.
Yes. So how do you balance all that with your family life and social life? And because you're here to, you're sharing your story with us, and in
Yes.
doing that, we're able to grow and see how we can manage our lives better.
You know what? I believe that once you make a plan for everything, you'll be able to manage.
Mhm.
Many times individuals say, you know what, they don't have time. It's not really that they don't have time. Sometimes it's just that they didn't plan their time
Mhm.
effectively. If we take in account the amount of time sometimes we spend on a telephone conversation that was fruitless, or, spend time watching TV. Don't get me wrong, I have my time when I watch TV, but your why is it all boils down to your why. When your why is strong enough, you're going to make sure you do what it takes to get you to where you want to get to. And my why is strong enough. I have my children that I need to live for. I have the people that I don't not want to help. I always say it's not want to help, the people that I need to help. And I in order to do that, I have to be effective in my planning and in what I do. Am I going to say that it is easy? It's not easy. I've had
Mhm.
times when I just want to remain sleeping in my bed, or I've had times when I just don't want to do anything. So it's not always easy. But at the same time, it's about wearing many different hats and knowing when to wear which hat. So I know that when I'm as a wife, I have to be a wife. My husband is there, and I cannot let my business life take over my marriage, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, when your business is gone and when everything else is gone, you have to then look at your family, your base, because your family is
Mhm.
your base. So I know that when I'm going to be a mother, I'm a mother, so that takes
Mhm.
into account my children's time. So what I've realized over the years, Patrick, that's when I was struggling and things were a lot challenging, I realized that, okay, great, yes, I set my goals for the year, I set my plan for the year, but then it didn't incorporate my children's time,
Mhm.
and they're going to be there. So when you're doing your goal list, when you're doing your plan list, you also, as a parent, need to put what it is that you're going to help them to achieve, so that they're a part of that plan. You know, and that is what makes a difference, and that is what I think helps me to keep going. But the greatest part of it is my why. Having that strong why keeps me going.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that wisdom. So, what you're saying really is that you need to have a strong why. You're saying that you have to incorporate your family
Yes.
into what you do. In other words, you're not going alone. Teamwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not just not even just incorporating your family, but it's what makes you up as a person. You have to sit down and say, you know what? Okay, great. So I'm a businesswoman. This is what I'm doing. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. Make sure everything that you do on a daily basis incorporates all of this. What some people tend to do is, okay, great. I need to focus on my business because it needs to be successful. Yes, do that. But you need to recognize that you need to make sure that your life as a parent is also successful, because I believe that success is complete. It's not, if one thing is working and the other thing is not, then there's an imbalance. So I believe in having success in all areas. And I'm not going to say that you're going to have success in all areas straight away, but it's about making sure that you're working towards it. So you can't say, oh, my business is successful, so it doesn't matter what happens with the children or what happens with my marriage. You need to say, okay, my business is successful, right? So now I need to figure out how I maintain that while doing the work to improve my children's life or my marriage life. That is what I believe.
Oh, that's brilliant. So how did you get to where you are? I'm sure that in life, in the past life, there have been challenges.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure that you've gone through a lot to be who you are, and I guess what you've gone through, you've grown through those events.
Yeah.
Would you like to share with us about your early life and the kind of things that you learned, and those things helped you to be who you are?
Yeah, you know what? I went through challenges. Oh gosh, I even when I wrote my first book, at one point I was like, is it because I wrote about challenges why I was facing so many challenges? So whether it be obviously parenting a son with special needs, whether it be the domestic abuse that I went through, whether it be the depression, whether it be the suicidal tendencies, I went through it all. And sometimes I sit and I look back and I'm thinking to myself, oh wow, how did I manage to come from that? One, it was about having a strong support network. They couldn't help me at the beginning because they didn't know. It's like you have a car, if it's not working, unless you bring it to the mechanic, he can't fix it. So they couldn't be the strong support that I needed because I didn't open up and I didn't tell them because I thought I could do it on my own until when I really crumbled. So one of the things that I would say to anyone that's listening, if you're struggling in certain areas, don't try to fix it on your own. Don't allow the devil to tell you that it's a shame game and you need to be ashamed, because that's where I was. I was ashamed of the relationship that I was in because I was being abused. I was ashamed of the fact that I was feeling all of these things. I was feeling depression. I didn't know what it was. Just crying nonstop, just wanting to be in the dark, just not wanting to be seen. I didn't know what it was at the time. As far as I thought, I was just sad because of everything that is going on. But one of the things for me is having that strong network, people that you can rely on, to be there for you. But the main thing for me was God. The main thing for me was God. I grew up going to Sunday school. I grew up, but you reach some point in your life and you're like, you know what, I want to branch away. I want to enjoy the world. I want to see what the world has out there for me. And so you go out there and you're a part of the world and you're going clubbing and you're doing all the crazy things. And you know what? Going through that situation brought me back. It brought me back, as they would say, to your first love. It brought me back to my first love as a child growing up, knowing and hearing about God. And you know what? The scriptures, the word of God is what helped me. It helped me. Having hope in believing that one day is going to get better, that is what kept me. If you're going through a challenge and you don't have hope that it's going to get better, then it's going to be very dark, because as yesterday you were there and you heard Chris mention, it's not being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you don't have any light, you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to give up. Nobody's going to want to stay with darkness, right? So unless you see the light, you're not going to want to continue on the journey.
Wow. So that is very powerful. So growing up, you said your first love was with God, and I believe that God supported you to go through some of the things you're facing. You talked about domestic abuse.
Yes.
I know it happens, but could you share with our viewers part of your story and how you managed to grow through that experience?
Yes. So I was living in Jamaica. So I went to Jamaica when I was the age of 3 with my grandparents because they decided to retire. And whilst in the UK, they were the ones that were helping my mom to look after me. So I didn't go there to actually stay out there. I went on a holiday. So I was going to stay with them throughout the summer and then I was going to return. But as a young child at the age of 3, I believe apparently I loved it so much that the summer holidays turned to 6 months. The 6 months turned to a year. And before you know it, I was 19. And that's when I came back. So I came back to the UK at the age of 19. And it was weird, Dr. Patrick, because I longed for my family. I felt, even though I had family back in Jamaica, it wasn't the same, because I had my immediate cousins, my brothers, my sisters, my dad, my mom, everyone was here, and I felt kind of alone. I felt like I was just on my own. But I was so glad to get back to the UK and be around my family. But it was a weird thing, because even though I had them, I didn't feel like I had them. It was I was so used to being on my own that it became a norm. So when I ended up getting into a relationship with who is now my ex-husband, and it was almost like he was filling a void for me. And at that time, I started to go through domestic abuse, and it's weird because you're looking at it now. I'm thinking, I'm surprised that I would allow that to happen, because I wasn't that person, bubbling me, and I just made it escalate. And it took 5 years. And during that time, I was diagnosed with a tumor that got removed, and things just escalated. And then even when I came out of the relationship, I was being stalked. So I would go home, my clothes would be removed from the wardrobe, my tires would get slashed, my car would get, every morning I would come out, another part of it would be scraped. I've been locked in the house, and I had to climb through the window in order to bring my children to school. I've woken up, since he left the house, I've woken up, he had cut another set of keys, woken up and seen him standing over me, and I lived in fear. I absolutely lived in fear. I could not sleep. I was scared to go on the street, and it brought on a deep depression. I would open my eyes long enough just to get the kids ready, take them to school, come back in the house, and I would just cover my head and I would go sleep. I lost my job, and my family didn't even know. They had no idea what was going on. And I remember getting up one morning, taking the children to school, and I felt like my heart was pounding through my chest. And it was just like I'm walking and I'm looking everywhere to see, I don't know what I was looking for, but I just remember, it's just like yesterday. I remember going to the shop, and I just stood at the side of the road, and I was just saying to myself, what if I could just end this now? What if I could just end it all now? Everything will stop. Because I was feeling guilty at the same time as well, because despite whatever he did, when it came to the children, he was so loving, bubbly, and I felt like I was depriving them of that. So I then turned it around, and I felt like I was the problem. I felt like I was the one causing everything. So I thought, if I could remove myself, then everybody would be happy. And it was that moment that I decided, you know what, I'm going to step out in front of this car. I didn't think about the drive. I didn't think about my kids. As far as I was concerned, there was no light at the end of the tunnel, and everyone would be better without me. And I remember this lady, and I've always said to myself, I wish I could see her again. And she made one drag and just dragged me back. And I just started crying. I just broke down, and I could not stop crying, because it was like realization hit me of what I just did. And then I remember picking my children up from school, giving them something to eat, and I just cried. I cried till the following day. And I remember there was a pastor. So he's my pastor now, my spiritual father. I had attended the church before and attended a christening. I woke up in the morning and I saw a missed call from them about 3:00 in the morning. So it wasn't a church that I went to regularly. They would always invite me, but I just went every now and then. And I was like, that's weird. Why would a pastor be calling me at 3:00 in the morning, So I thought maybe it went off by mistake. And then again, they called. I saw another call coming at about just after I brought the children to school. So about 9:30. And I answered. And, his wife, who's now my pastor, Julie, as well, said, pastor would like to speak to you. He had a dream, and he couldn't sleep. He needed to speak to you. And everything that he said to me, I just broke down on the phone. Everything that he said was exactly what I was going through at that moment. Everything. And I got up that Sunday and I went to church. And you have those moments when you just feel like a weight was just lifted off you. I just sat in that church and I just cried, and nobody judged me for it. Nobody, looked at me like I was crazy or anything like that. And that's how my journey, my relationship with God truly started. But what I started to realize, and I mentioned this yesterday, you know, when speaking at Bradley's event, is that I realized that I was allowing someone else to write my story. I was allowing someone else to write my life because I had given up. And I thought to myself, giving up, he wins. If I give up, he wins. The circumstance wins. I lose, my children lose. The people that I'm out there that God has given me the grace to help would lose. And I started really recognizing my purpose. I didn't realize it. I went from being depressed to counseling people, to speaking to people. And it was like God was sending all of these people on my way that either went through something similar or was still going through it. And I decided to write my book. And so I started writing my first book. And I was writing it still not thinking that it was going to get published. Started writing my book, published the book. And then I started speaking about challenges. I didn't speak about the abuse because I was still ashamed of it. You know, I was still ashamed, even though I had come out of it and I thought, yes, I was doing right. I was out of that depression. I was out of the negative feeling. I really wasn't. One, I was struggling with forgiveness. That was eating away at me. I was bitter. Number two, I found it very difficult to speak to anyone about what was going on. And I realized that I was carrying a shame. The first time, Dr. Patrick, that I spoke about the story around my abuse, I had a lady come up to me and she said to me, "Can I have your number?" And I gave her the number. I didn't even remember about her. And then one day when I was in my house, she called me and she said, "You might not remember me, but I asked you for your number." And she said, "You've done something that you don't know. 20 years." She said she's been in a marriage for 20 years. She's been abused and no one knows. I'm the first person that she's telling. From broken ribs to, apart from obviously hospital, none of her family, nobody knows, to bruises, punches, kicks, everything. And I thought to myself, wow, so if I can open my mouth and share my story and not be ashamed, how many more people, how many more women like that could I save? Could I help? And so that's when I really opened up and started talking. So my family didn't know about the story until my book was published.
Wow.
That's when they knew about my story.
Oh, thank you very much, Michelle, for sharing that story. Thank you very much for writing that book. And there are lots of people here sending in their messages. Adonia from the United States, she's saying that you are the light we all seek. You are the light we all seek. We have Wilken. I met Wilken in Florida
last year.
Wilken is saying, a great story. Keep it up. I have
Thank you, Wilken.
Watching from Canada. I do have Herman. Herman was the award-winning speaker.
Oh, yes, Herman.
Great lady and a great man. Great story. So just ladies and gentlemen, in case you've just joined us, I'm talking to Michelle Watson. Michelle is an author. Michelle is an award-winning speaker. He's a mentor. He's a coach. She's a coach. And above all, she's a human being who has lived through tough experiences. And she's sharing those experiences with us so that she can help us take our lives to the next level. She can help us create our best lives. Yes. So listening to your story, there are lots of things that really touched me. But one of the things you're saying was that there's that lady as you're almost approaching the car, and that lady who pulled you back so that your life wasn't ended. So could we say that was an angel sent to? Because some people believe in angels, they don't know.
You know what, Dr. Patrick, you never know, you know. And this is the thing. Angels could be you. Angels could be me. I think the moment that you are helping someone, you're an angel. The moment that you're smiling with someone on the street, because this is the thing. And I do it regularly. And people look at me sometimes as if I'm crazy. I see people on the street and I'm like, good morning, hello, how are you? And I'm talking to them. You know why? Because you never know what that person might be planning to go and take their life. That person might be planning right now to go and take their life. And your smile, your words of kindness, your attention, that little 1 minute of attention that you're giving to them may make all the difference in the world. And you know what? You know who I'm going to mention now. You know who I'm going to mention. Les Brown. You know who I'm going to mention. He was all the way in America. When he was speaking, when he's doing his YouTube videos, he did not know me. He had no idea who I was. And you know what? A part of the story that I didn't mention is my son that has special needs, because I went through challenges with that. I went through challenges, with the school, with him, with so many things. I couldn't go to the shop. If I had him, sometimes I had to wait for someone to come home to stay with him so I could take him to the shop. I used to be ashamed to go to, take him to birthday parties. And, so I remember somebody from my church that knew about this. And he was already venturing out into personal development. And he said, you know what? Have you ever heard of Les Brown? I was like, no, I have never heard of him. He sent me a link with the video. And I started watching Les Brown every morning. But what rang out to me was him talking about, him being the dumb twin, was him talking about that people were saying he's not going to come to anything. And that's what was happening with my son. And he gave me hope. He gave me hope. So the moment that I heard he was coming to London, I was there like a shot. And I remember sitting in that audience, and I remember him saying, someone else's opinion of you is not who you are. And I sat there and tears came to my eyes, because all I could hear was all the negatives that I was told about myself, about my son, about my life. And I thought to myself, that's not who I am. That is not who I am. The greatest thing for anyone that's watching this video right now is for you to know who you are, because when you truly know who you are, society, stigma, no one can brand you, because you know who you are. No one can brand you. You know who you are, you know what you stand for. So therefore, no one can brand you. So that would be one great thing that I would share. Know who you are. You know what? And I'm so grateful that you decided to share my story in the book, because he's really touched me. I've had those days when I'm down and I'm playing Les Brown and I'm just, the way I'm laughing, you think there's someone in the house with me, But yeah, it was Les Brown, And so I would encourage anyone as well, if you realize what cheers you up, if it's music, if it's listening to music, if it's listening to a certain audio, listen to it. Don't allow yourself to be carried away with the negative feelings, because we do that. People always see me smile and they're like, a lot of things still go wrong. I still have challenges, but people see me and I'm smiling. And sometimes when I open my mouth and I say something to them, they're like, and you're still doing what you're doing, because guess what? The world does not end with that circumstance. The world does not end with that challenge. The life goes on. And you can either decide to sink or swim. You can either decide to see a log floating by you and you decide to grab that log, or you say, you know what, I'm going to stay there and wait for somebody to come and save me until you sink. Don't wait. Wherever your help is, go there. I used to be like that. I used to struggle to ask people for help. Don't struggle to ask people for help. Don't allow your pride and your ego to allow you to suffer in silence. Don't suffer in silence.
Because the thing is, most of us, we keep it ourselves, and then it piles up until we explode.
Yes.
So the ability to open up, either to someone or open up in writing. There are lots of people healing. Writing is a very healing process. As you write, you're putting things out there. Even if you cannot say or verbalize it, you can write it down, and that will release the pressure within you, which at one point may explode and make things worse for you. Yeah. So really the advice you're giving us, that to abandon ourselves to others by opening up, to abandon ourselves to the writing process, but importantly, for those who believe in God, to abandon ourselves to God, to let God take control of our lives. And I believe, or I guess, you get most of your joy and most of the smile that you keep. That joy comes from something greater than what we can see and greater than what we can imagine.
Definitely. You know what I always say, guess what? Somebody can make you happy, but they cannot give you joy. Only you can give yourself joy. You know, joy comes from within. Somebody can make you unhappy, but they can't steal your joy. If you lose your joy, it was your decision, not somebody taking it away from you. You know, I always say this: you can decide for somebody else to design your day, or you can design your day for yourself. Just like I said yesterday, are you going to continue to allow other people to write in your book called life? You were given the authority to write in your book. You were born an empty book. You were born an empty form. What goes in your book is what you have written. And you can decide to say, you know what, I'm going to open my book for any Tom, Dick, or Harry to write my story. I realized that I wasn't going to allow anyone to write my story anymore. God gave me the power to write my own story. And so I decided that I want my story to be a legacy. And if I want my story to be a legacy, I need to take the steps and do what I need to do to make sure that I am a legacy. But if I was going to continue allowing others to write my story, then that's where the stigma is. Then that's where all the negative thoughts is. That's where all the negative words is. You can't please everyone. There are going to be people out there that's going to say bad about you. Don't care what you do, Dr. Patrick. Don't care how good you are. Don't care how loving you are. People are going to be out there that is going to say negative about you. But are you going to allow them to write that in your book? You know the truth. The Bible says you know the truth, and the truth would set you free. You know the truth, and you decide what is written in your book, not other people. It's just like you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you're happy with how you look. You go outside and someone says, you look ugly, or I don't like your clothes. Your clothes doesn't look good. And you let that spoil your day. Hold on. Who's just designed your day? You will go through the whole day upset with it on top of your head. Who's just designed your day? Not you. You allowed that person to design your day. Because when you're in the house and you looked in the mirror, you were happy with what you see. So go back to what you were happy with, not what that person said. And that is life. And that is how I see it, you know?
True. And what you just said and what you've been saying since we started, ladies and gentlemen, in case you've just joined us, this evening I'm talking to Michelle Watson. Michelle, she's an author, she's a speaker, she's a coach and a book writing expert. And she is here sharing a story on how she's struggled through life to the point of living her dreams. And one of the things that I learned from her, and this brings me back to the great author, musician or singer, and civil rights activist Maya Angelou, who says there's nothing painful than having that untold story buried deep down in your soul. And Michelle's job as a life coach is to help you and me bring out that story, either by speaking the story or writing the story. And she has lots of things out there for us to help us make that possible. So could you tell us about what you do in terms of how you can help us? Like you have a company called Breakfreeforever?
Yeah, so it's Breakfreeforever Consultancy. And I came up with that name because, you know what, I know a lot of people say break free. But what I realize in life is that sometimes you can break free, but then you get chained again. Yeah. You break free. It's almost like going to a seminar or conference. You go and you get hyped up, or you go to a Tony Robbins event and UPW and you get hyped up, and then you go back to exactly where you were before. So you've broken free, but then you've entered back into the cage. And so I thought, nah, what I want to do and what I want to have the ability to do is help people to break free forever. So whatever you've broken free from, whatever you have going on and you've left behind, for you not to go back there, you know. And I do that through the art of speaking, personal development, and book writing. And those are the areas that I work in. So I'm a personal development coach. So I work with individuals that, you know, were like some who were like me, or some that are struggling with limiting beliefs. They have these desires. They have this great potential. they have these great ideas, but they just don't know what to do with it or how they can make a move forward. So that's one of the things that I help people with. The Vision to Success Masterclass is around helping individuals that they've either just started their business or they have an idea of starting the business, but they don't know how to package their products and services. So I help them to package the products and services and monetize it into in a full-fledged business. Then I do the book writing. So for those individuals that I mainly started with the business book. The business book writing was it for me. People tend to say, what's the difference between a business book and just writing a normal book? In your business book, you're going to share your story, but you're also going to share about your business, because this is for you to target your potential clients. So that is how I help individuals. And also I go out and I speak. I'm a motivational speaker and I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it. I love speaking and knowing that I've made an impact. Some people speak and what makes them feel good is the fact that, they've made a lot of money selling their products and services. Don't get me wrong, that's a part of it. But when I have someone come up to me and say, you know what, you've touched me with your story, or somebody see me 2 years, 3 years down the line and say, you know what, I took a step because of what I've heard you say at an event that I attended, that's the greatest feeling that I have. Greatest feeling.
Well, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing your life with us. Thank you very much for living as an example for people, so that when they look at you, hear your story, they're able to say, yes, I can still live my dreams, despite the challenges. Because most of us, we tend to take our circumstances and we make them our standard. Okay, this is what I am, this is where I've been, this is where I've been born, and there's nothing that I can do better than this.
Yeah.
But you're showing us an example of someone who has come from very, very far, struggled through the challenges of life, but at the same time grown through each of those challenges, and now you're at the point where you're able to help others go over those challenges. One of the things that I do as well is work with the parents and teachers and carers who have children with special educational needs.
Yes.
So I do assessment, I do intervention, designing interventions and advice to parents, teachers, and carers. And I guess that's one of the things that you might possibly you do as well. So if parents are having children with special educational needs and they want to get in contact with you as well, because I know that raising a child who is having certain difficulties is not that easy. So what would be the tips that you would like to give some of the parents listening tonight?
One of the first things that I would say is have love. Because when you have love for your child, everything else pales out. Nothing compares to that love that you have for your child. No matter what people are saying, no matter how difficult it gets at time, keep that love for your child. That's the first thing. The second thing, do not let anyone tell you who your child is. Don't let anyone tell you who your child is. I struggled with that for a long time because everything they were telling me, that's what I began to see. The moment I decided to stop listening and focus on the child that I had in front of me was when he was able to grow, because that's when I decided that, you know what, no, I'm not going to accept that. I went out, I got him a tutor to work with him one-to-one. Now that same child that they said to me, don't expect anything of academically, he will never be able to settle to learn, even up until the 4th grade, he could not read. Now that very child, he's 14, he's already taken 3 of his GCSEs.
Wow.
One of them being mathematics, the second one being cooking, the third one being physical education. And this is a child that they said don't expect anything of. He was in year 9, they had to put him in the year 11 maths group because he was so bright. So do not take on board. Don't get me wrong. Yes, you do need to listen to advice, but you see your child and know your child. Don't just take on what everybody else tells you. Believe that it is possible. That is the third thing. Believe that it is possible. believe that there's possibility. That is what kept me strong for my son. Despite everything that was going on, all the noise that was happening around me, I had to have that hope. Because Dr. Patrick, if we don't have hope, what are we left with?
Nothing. And actually, I have a great quote from, I think it's from, it is from Pope Francis. I was in Rome 3 years ago, and he said, hope does not disappoint. Hope is sure. Be men and women of hope.
Great.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have it, what are you left with? What would I have been left with all those years ago? With him growing up, what would I have been left with? And I look at him now, and you know what? I cry. Is he perfect? No. Who is perfect? None of us are perfect. Is he fully there yet? No. But when I sit back and I look at where he's come from and all what they said, and I thought to myself, if I had accepted that and just lived with that, where would he be today? You know? And something that touched me 2 years ago, touched me in a massive way. It was Mother's Day, and he made a card for me.
Wow.
And he wrote in that card, he said, thank you, Mom. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for believing in me, even when others didn't.
Yeah.
So if you as a parent can't stand firm for your child, to give your child hope, then who will? That is what I told myself. If I don't fight for him, then who will? And that is what you need to tell yourself. If I don't stand for my child, then who will? You use somebody, you look at positive individuals, people like Les Brown. You know, you look at those individuals and you know that once upon a time they were written off. But sometimes the people that are written off, the Bible says, you know what? Who becomes the cornerstone? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, Les Brown may have been looked down upon, but look at where he is now. Look at Joseph, the story of Joseph in the Bible. You know, he was thrown in a pit by his siblings, but in the end, he was the one that came to save them. You know, so just have hope, believe, pray over your children and believe.
And actually, one, as you're talking about as well, belief and the ability to believe that's possible. Because most of us, we do not see beyond our circumstances. We don't have much faith. So the highest faith is to believe that it's possible. Yes. And once you believe it's possible and you visualize it, then you can start working towards it.
That's it.
Like me, when I'm doing my books, the first thing you have to do is think about the title. After you've done the title, the subtitle, and then I get my graphic designer to design the book cover, even before I've started writing the book. The moment I see the book cover, then I believe that book is already done. And then I have to work backwards and make sure that I have to fill those pages. Otherwise...
You're a man of my own heart. That's exactly what I advise. Always advise. Even before the book is maybe even started, get your book cover done. Because when you've got your book cover done, you know, you're seeing it. You're seeing the goal posts. It's far different from just going and you don't know where you're ending.
Yes. So you have this event coming up this weekend, and I believe that it is Women Be. Women
Be, yeah. I created Women Be.
It's only for women, I believe, you know, or I'm invited.
Guess what? Normally, and this is Dr. Patrick, this is just so funny because do you know what? Everyone, because I used to have it 3 times a year.
Yes.
And everyone that I had, I've been doing it for the past 2 years. Everyone that I've had, men have turned up.
Okay.
Men have turned up. And this one, I said to myself, I've had men have stalls, and because they're adamant, I need to be in that room. I need to be there. And I've had few men that have come, they've enjoyed it, and they're saying, I don't care what you say, I'm not missing it. So this time around, I didn't take any men stall holders. Sorry. However, I do have some individuals that they're husband and wife and they're doing the business together, then obviously they're allowed to come together. The reason why I created Women Be is because I started thinking about my life. One day I was in the house, and God gave me that vision. I was in the house, and I thought to myself, I was able to overcome. I was able to get out of depression. I was able to turn my life around because I had the support network. And I started to think about the women that don't have that support, the women that don't have the big families, the women that don't have a circle of influence around them, or people that they can go to and say, you know what, I'm going through this, or I would like to start a business, but I don't know what to do. And so I thought, okay, great. Once upon a time, somebody nearly stopped me from being the woman that I was created to be. So what about those other women? That's how the title Women Be came about. Women being who they are created to be. And that's Women Be. So it's going to be on the 14th of July, and it's going to be at the Wesley Hotel in Houston. It's just 3 or 4 minutes walk from Houston Station. For those that want to drive on Saturday, the parking there is absolutely free. And it's going to be an amazing event. We have someone coming to speak on properties. HMO, she's a property investor. Wendy Whitaker Lodge. We have Janine Cummins that will be coming to speak about social media and doing your videos and making it effective and turning, your raving fans online to paying customers. Then we have Natalia Nicholson. She will be coming to speak about business startups. So for those women out there that you want to start a business, but you don't know the steps that you need to take, she will be speaking about that. We have Barbara Anderson. She'll be coming to be speaking about finance and how to get out of debt. Then we also have Ruth Driscoll. Ruth Driscoll has a similar story to mine. She's a life liberator, and she has gone through domestic abuse. And she speaks about being the TV and somebody else holding the remote, changing the channels of your life. And we have Althea Grant. Althea Grant, powerful motivational speaker, taught by Les Brown himself. So she will be speaking on that day as well. Then we have Rupert Palmer, and she's going to be showing women how they can make money from the four corners of their house, anywhere they want to go in the world, by doing Forex trading and investing. And then obviously I will be sharing with the audience as well how they can write their story and how they can write their book, get their book out there, get onto the right platforms, and how they can also use it to monetize their business.
Wow, that is brilliant. That is amazing. I wish I was a woman and be able to turn up.
Well, you do.
Any woman definitely listening this evening should come up to the event on the 14th of July. That's a Sunday?
Saturday.
It's Saturday. Yeah. How can we get the tickets?
So what I can do, they can get it from www.michellewatson.com/events, or I can actually attach the link in this video. If you would like me to do that, Dr. Patrick, I can do that for you. I can actually attach a link in this video that will just take them right to Eventbrite where the tickets are.
Sorry, I missed it. Is it Michelle Watson?
So it's author Michelle Watson. Author Michelle Watson /events.
Okay, we'll do that. So let me get again. www.michellewatson.com.
No, so Michelle Watson, .com/events.
Okay. So we can get the tickets there. And I'm sure that there are very few tickets left. So whoever wants to get there, they need to get here as soon as possible.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that amazing opportunity that you're creating for people to be able to experience what other people growing up, our parents didn't experience.
Yes.
What other people growing up, we didn't have the chance to network with each other and grow together and share our advice and expertise to be able to take our businesses and our lives to the next level. Thank you very much. Yes, and in case you still want to know more about Michelle, her story is in this book, Let's Brown Change Our Lives. So she's one of the co-authors of this great book. So if you're interested, you can get it on Amazon and you'll be able to read more of her story. But as well, she has a book which is called Overcome
and Rise Above. And the other one is called Rise Above and Believe, how to get rid of excuses and create your desired life.
And we can get all those books directly from your website.
Yeah, you can get it directly from my website. You also can get it from Amazon. If they go into my website, they can also get a free downloadable book, and that is Vision to Success, 40 Tips on how to start and run your monetized business.
Oh, that is brilliant. That's amazing. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you very much for sharing your story. It's been very empowering, and I feel transformed listening to you.
Thank you for having me.
I did read your story when I was editing and going through this book, which we wrote together, you being the co-author. But hearing it from you, talking about it, is completely a different experience. And I'm sure it has been for our viewers this evening as well. So this question I normally ask you at the end of the show. If your life was to end, for example, today, what will be your legacy? What the message you're going to leave us that we'll remember forever?
The message that I would leave behind is this. How long will you continue and allow someone else to write in your book called life? Because the only one that has the power to decide what is written in the next chapter is you. You can never go back and rip out the pages that are already written, the things that have gone wrong. But what you can do is make the decision of what you're going to write for your tomorrow.
So decide to write your own story. Decide to write your own life story. That's the message.
Yes.
So that we don't allow others to take control of that.
No.
It's your life. Of course, they can advise.
Yeah.
Of course, they can advise. Of course, they can guide. But the ultimate decision comes back to me.
Definitely.
This is what I'm doing with my life. And actually, one of the quotes I love is from Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa lived in a very poor country, lived and died in India. And one of the things said that she allowed herself to God to use her as a pencil. So it says, I am a pencil in the hand of God.
Wow.
Write a new chapter each day with my life.
That's it. You can never get it better than that.
Yes. So God is using you. God is using me to write that chapter, and no one else can write it for us.
No one else.
Yes. So it's our decision to sink, as you said before.
Or swim.
And we have great people like you are helping us swim to the other end.
Yes, just grab. You see that log passing you? Just grab out and reach it. You never know what will happen. Don't just say, oh, it's only a log. It's not going to save me. You never know where your help is going to come from. Never know. And it could be from a child. Could be, never underestimate the words of a child. Could be a child that says the one word that would be that catalyst moment for you, that would bring that insight for you to snap out from where you are. So, never. And this is the thing for me. And I would like to say to everyone, people always say, yeah, Michelle, you're so humble. It's not just about humility. I never ever look down on anyone. Life is funny. The top of the ladder can end up being the bottom, and the bottom can end up being the top. You can climb it from both sides, whichever direction you turn that ladder. So at the end of the day, never look down on the people. You're going up. You don't know what will happen when you get up. So never look down on the people while you're climbing up. And so many people are doing it today. So remain humble. I believe, who was it that said it? Was it Mervyn that said it yesterday? When he spoke about ego, etching God out, that's a powerful one. Don't etch God out. Don't let your ego take over. Love people. Help people when you can. And get rid of the selfishness. Sometimes put other people first. That's what I would like to leave behind.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure hosting you. It has been a pleasure listening to your story. And I'm sure my viewers this evening, your viewers this evening, and our viewers today, tomorrow, and forever will be able to learn from this and grow through the story that you shared with us tonight. Thank you very much and have a great evening.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you very much. That was great. I'm sweating, seriously sweating.
Yeah, I can see. It's hot.
God, I didn't want to be like, oh, yeah. So, oh, yeah, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I think there was some good engagement from people. So, that is, yeah. So, what happens is I will send you a copy of this. I'm going to download it. And then if you do want, you can upload it on other platforms, whether it's YouTube or whichever you want to do. But as well, given that it's all about exposure, you, me, and whoever is commenting here, I do as well make it available on the YouTube.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. So I'll definitely share that as well.
Yeah. I might have missed your website thing because someone said, "Can't you use our website here?"
Let me go into. I can go into the chat to
yes,
make sure that I get in
through the chat, and then you can respond to some of those people. You never know, as you said.
Let me go into. I can go into the chat.
Yes. So that's amazing. So I'll say I can get the books to you because this what I did. I'm still waiting for them to be delivered once they're here for Friday. No, for Saturday. If we can do that. And
yeah, I think you're still live as well.
are you?
Yeah, you're still live.